I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, November the 1st, brought to you in part by Hashy Insurance. You guys have heard me talk about my buddy Steve. Give him a call there if you got any needs for crop insurance. That's his mainstay. He's got lots of opportunities as investment in life insurance and the scenarios he has there to borrow your own money back and operate that way is very impressive. And then also a lot of opportunities in livestock insurance, whether it's your LRP, your livestock risk protection, which I've told you guys you definitely need to get involved in. It's the best still going, or your PRF, your pasture rangeland and forage insurance that protects against lack of precipitation. But look him up at Hashy Insurance and get the contact information there and call and talk to Steve or his son John. A record week, and you think, well, what's the record? Well, we've had near or at records for this past week in the amount of negotiated cash trade that we had move, the weighted average in your 5-area feeding region on live steers, and also on your slaughter. We had a huge slaughter this last week, so those are all big positives, and we're looking forward to more of this going forward here into this last quarter, because we know that our market ready supplies of finished cattle are getting tight, and we've had confirmation of that by how aggressive your packers have been in the few fat cattle auctions that we have coming out into the country and visiting some farmer feeders and some lots that they haven't came and visited for a long time, and they're pulling cattle immediately. Normally they buy some cattle negotiated, they've got 2 weeks to pick them up, and they're calling for them the next day. And so, they're pretty close to the knife. We have very few opportunities like this to gain market position, and we have to make hay while the sun's shining, guys. I do think that we could realistically get $1.30. I don't think we could have a weighted average price of $1.30 this week, but we could touch $1.30 this week, have some direct negotiated sales confirmed at $1.30 here on this coming week as we go forward here, if the guys will just ask it and demand that price. And don't let them hide it. Make it be a pure negotiated cash deal that gets turned in and reported. We've got to give these investors on our futures market, the guys that go long, we have to give them some confidence and some reason to believe that we can gain market position, or else they're going to quit betting on the long side. But we've seen the board kind of fail to realize the gains that we saw in the cash market this week. But it kind of goes to reason. We've been looking at your futures being trading at a significant premium to cash here the whole last half of the summer pretty much, and through this fall. So they're running about par where we're at. We've lost the October contracts on both live cattle and feeder cattle, so now we've got a little more room to run. And let's look at your board for last week. December live cattle futures, Monday was up $1.20, Tuesday was up $1.92, Wednesday was up 12 cents, and then we had all the good fundamental news of the sharply higher fat cattle trade and everything, and then the board fails to respond to that anymore. It goes down $1.25 on Thursday and down $1.05 on Friday, with December contracts ending the week at 129.27. It was over 130, but backed off of that because nobody thinks we can get $1.30. But that 129.27 was still up up 95 cents. October went off the board at 127.37, and it had to run higher to come off there. And I told you guys it was going to do that. It was up nearly $3 on Friday, but or the last day of trade there. But that's where it went off, is just a little bit higher than what our weighted average is going to be. February contracts on live cattle ended the week at 134.22. Feeder cattle for November, Monday was up $1.57, Tuesday up $1.30, Wednesday failed, down $1.30, Thursday down 82, Friday down 107, and your feeder cattle November contracts ended the week down 33 cents when feeder cattle are selling higher everywhere all over the world, and they were down 33 cents at 156.57 for the November contract, and that we're already right in November here. But January contracts ended the week at 156.12, so we've kind of lost the big premiums that we were looking at here nearby. Your fat cattle trade, I told you, moved a lot. Through Thursday, in your 5-area feeding region, 85,800. Now that's more than we've been getting nationwide. And I know on the outskirts, you know, in the Great Northwest and Pennsylvania, it's not a lot of trade out there, but it's usually enough to kick it up. But that's more in the 5-area than we've been getting nationwide here for most of the year. Your live sales of steers and heifers this past week, 125 to 128. That's $1 to $2 higher. Your weighted average on live steers, 126.29, and that's going to be close to the high for the year, and that's about $2 better on your weighted average than the previous week. Your dress sales of steers and heifers, 196 to $2, and a lot of $2 dress. That's $1 to $4 higher. Weighted average on dress steers, 199.88, and that's about $4 higher. So very significant there. Not a lot of trade on Friday, so in your 5 areas, but Iowa had about 500 head confirmed, about 23,500 for the week. All those Friday sales were at $2 dressed. Nebraska had just a couple of loads, and they moved 35,700 head for the week. Kansas was just a couple of loads there, and 14,600 head for the week. Texas, no trade on Friday, but 12,700 head for the week. All of those totals were enough to have robust trade. Now, if we had our minimum negotiated cash trade, we could mandate at least that much trade every week, and you see the results from it, guys. But you know, we just don't get enough trade negotiated cash anymore. You can't turn any bid down in a normal situation and get a call back. But the way things are right now, you can. So price them up there, hold your feet firm, and they'll call you back because they need the cattle. How about box beef cutout values? They finally found support. And this week, this past week, they're higher, consistently higher, and so the packers can quit whining about that. They've kind of found a bottom on that. We should see these box beef cutout values rise until we get pretty much through November, as they're doing their seasonal holiday demand right now, because as your sellers, your retailers are buying product to stock the shelves for Thanksgiving and Christmas. But look at your choice cuts for the week. Your weighted average on all of last week's trade, 284.41. That was up $3.71 from the previous week's weighted average. And late week sales on Friday afternoon, 285.72, a bit higher than that, so that's good. Selects, all of last week's trade had a weighted average of 262.68. That was 69 cents higher than the previous week. And your Friday afternoon sales on Select, 263.37, so higher there. Big slaughter. I mean, we've been hoping for a 670,000 head slaughter here pretty much all year and haven't been able to get it. Well, this past week, estimates were for 668,000. That's a big, big week. That's 7,000 more than the previous week, 28,000 more than the same week a year ago. So that's big time. Let's talk about what else is going on. Joplin Regional Stockyards got a big sale here on Monday. The regular Monday sale, I've been kind of running lighter receipts, but 5,000 head plus and lots of loads of yearlings, guys. If you need some yearlings, they'll have some commodity types, they'll have some fancier ones too there, but if you need a hard yearling to put on feed that you don't have to worry about while you're doctoring all these sick calves, tune in to Joplin. dvauction.com. You can view and bid right there. Call your favorite order buyer there at Joplin, but get some orders in there for those yearlings at Joplin Regional Stockyards here today on Monday. But they've also got a big cow sale, special cow sale coming up Wednesday afternoon, starting at 4:30 after they get done with the weigh-up. So Be sure and remember that. And then also at Joplin, big week there. They got a primetime livestock video in the barn on Thursday at 1 p.m. Got several strings of cattle on that video. You can view and bid there too at JoplinStockyards.com or at dvauction.com. Let's talk about your sales late in the week there. Feeder cattle auctions, your real-time index on DV auction there to end the week was 155.85. That's up 44 cents from the end of later in the week on the end of Thursday. So Friday and Saturday sales were a bit better too. But you look at some of your late week sales there, and your trend through your sale barns on feeder type cattle, the yearlings that we have there, they've been selling at big prices already, but steady to $2 higher on feeder type cattle, big calves that have to go right into the feedlot, and yearlings. Now your lighter weight calves, generally higher, but split a little bit, $3 to $5 higher in the central part of the United States. But some of those places in the northern plains, especially western South Dakota, eastern Montana, and out there where they've just been seeing droves and droves and droves of them, that, you know, it's just supply and demand. They just had too much supply, and so it did back off a little bit. There were some lower at the sales out there because they've just been flooded. But you get in your center part of the country, $3 to $5 higher. The wheat's coming on. We got to get some wheat pasture cattle put together, and so we're looking forward to that. And so, you know, with the truck deal is a big deal too. You know, there's just not enough trucks to go all the way out there western South Dakota and places, and you see that difference. My buddy Justin Tupper's sale barn there, St. Ange, South Dakota, he has been having huge runs of calves and cows too at his cow sale, big weigh up sales because it's been so dry out there. But he was selling the calves, as well as they sell, and they have the best ranch raised calves out there. But there's just been so many of them, and then you look between there and Belle Fourche and Faith, and as a crow flies, you go over to Miles City. There's just a lot of them moving in that area, and it's a long ways out there to get trucks. On Friday, his 5-weight steer calves averaged in the mid 170s there, and that's kind of where they've been selling. But we see places that they sell a little bit better. As a contrast, you go, way further south and back east in South Dakota, winter livestock, they had a lot lighter run, and they haven't been having big runs there, and their 5-weight calves were averaging in the low 180s. So that's just the difference. If you can get a truck up there, if you can get in there and get some of those calves, there's just so many of them that have been selling up there in extreme western South Dakota. But they can sure sell yearlings, and a yearling looking calf there at St. Ange. Justin had 58 head, weighed 965 on Friday. Big yearling steers bring 157.75, and then he also had a string of lighter weight yearlings, or some calves with a yearling look. 166 of them weighed 773 at $172. So sure, no problem with the market there. Just way too many light calves. Winter livestock, winter South Dakota. They had 66 head of light 5-weight steers weighing 517, bring 196. You can't quite get that where they've just been selling so many of them. But you go back down into Nebraska, they can sell a big calf, Verdigris Stockyards, Verdigris, Nebraska, 57 head, 768-pound big calves bring $168, guys. But the best quote that I saw anywhere late last week was in Edina, Missouri, at Edina Livestock. It's your Zach Tran top quote for the day. 64 head, weighed 846 pounds, bring $166.85. And that's your feeder flash for Monday.